is up, everybody? It is your boy Fredo. It is your boy Big Z. We are coming at you like we always do every week, except for last week. Because you know what? We're going to be honest with you. It was kind of a crazy week.
Slightly
kind of a crazy week. You know,
slightly crazy.
Dude,
It's okay, bro.
I'm in the off season of baseball, right? I'm in the off season. Last week,
Okay,
right? I had, I want to say like 5 total practices and 3 or 4 total games. And I'm in the off season. Like, it's like I'm doing it to myself. I'm doing it to myself.
Well, you're enjoying it. So,
I mean, I refuse to miss anything. That's the thing. Is like the kids only have a couple more years in Little League, you know. So I refuse to miss anything.
You're just a good role model, man. Like, and you're just building that resume. So when they go to high school, you can coach them there. And then when they go to college, you can coach them there.
I want to be
and
that
when they
dad.
go to MLB, you can be that hitting coach.
I want to be the dad sitting in the rocking chairs that any baseball parent who knows, like, watches their kids and is listening to this knows I'm talking about. There's like these rocking baseball chairs are super sweet. I want to be that dad sitting there with a coffee mug at like 2 p.m. on like a Saturday. And it was like, what's in his mug? Like, you'll never know.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not coaching. Is it coffee?
Is it something else?
Is it Sunny Delight? We don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know.
We don't know. We'll never know. It's a mystery.
Regardless, we were busy. It was a crazy week. Apologize. But of course, we're back this week. So, Big Z, what'd you do? How'd you enjoy your week off? That wasn't really a week off because we were crazy busy, but how'd you enjoy that?
I mean, other than the Dodgers losing, it was productive.
Quick. That was quick.
It was fast. It was a fast series. It was super productive. I worked like 6 days. There's like a few 12-hour shifts in there. It was a busy but productive week, I would say. I got a lot done.
That's good.
You know, always helping out the man, really helping him out. Putting the money in their pocket.
Just helping him out, dude. Just helping him out, baby. My wife is like officially off of work. So like that's the other thing, like pulling more duty around the house, trying to make, do the dinners and stuff. Cause she's like, at this point, she walks like 15 steps, feet just swollen, just gone. For those people that are listening to this, maybe you're driving or something, you're like, oh my gosh, what happens when my wife gets pregnant? Like, dude, feet swell.
You got to rub the feet, man. You got to get those foot massages.
I remember
when Haley after she gave birth to Oliver, dude, her feet were so swollen afterwards too. Like it was so crazy for like 2 weeks. And I felt so bad for her. It looked painful. Like that's how swollen they were.
Oh boy.
And I was like, oh my God, like what can I do? And it's like, really, there's just nothing at that point. It was just keep rubbing the feet, man. Just do what you can.
Well, she's off work. So now they look way more normal. Like she's off of them.
Oh,
like she's not
on her feet all day though.
Yeah. Because she's teaching TK, dude. She's teaching TK.
So those kids are running around her like
it's crazy.
In circles.
It's just crazy. Yeah, there's nothing new over literally just baseball. Like literally, that's all life is at this moment. It's just baseball. And then you think there's no baseball and it's just more baseball. And then apparently we're going to fit a baby in there somewhere. So it's going to be crazy. It's going to be fun.
Do the kids, your baseball team, do they put more heart into the game than the Dodgers?
You know what? I would argue that they do. I would argue that they do. I would argue that they're also more bothered by sucking. Like I think it's obviously different, right? Like we'll get into it a little bit, but like at the end of the day, like I feel like there's just a different, like in professional sports, right? Like it's that line that everybody has talked about and like mentioned over and over and over. When you're an athlete making $15 million a year, like does it matter as much when you lose? Like obviously nobody likes to lose, and I think every athlete would give you the right answer. Like I don't want to lose. But at the same time,
but if I lose, does it really bother me?
Is there a little piece of them that's like sitting there? I could be in the Bahamas right now, but instead I'm in the playoffs. I think Angels fans are much more bothered that their team is a dumpster fire than the Angel players. In large part, I think there's probably a couple Angels players that are like really bothered. Like I think Mike Trout, who is like trying to be one of the all-time greats in the game, and he already is, but is really trying to cement like a legacy.
Right.
Like it's hard to have that legacy in the play. It's almost like the opposite, sort of. And I love him to death. Like you love him, I love him. He's our GOAT. But it's almost like the boy Clayton Kershaw, right? Like when you talk about that playoff legacy, right? There was a world in which you could make an argument that Clayton is and was the greatest pitcher of all time. And now, because of his playoff struggles, it's all, like, you can make the argument, like you can still say like, oh yeah, you know, you can get the regular season numbers, but you cement that legacy in the playoffs. So I think for like a guy like Ohtani and a guy for like Trout, those guys probably care. But I think a lot of the guys who are like kind of at the bottom end of the barrel, like, well, you know, we're getting paid, so like Rendon. I don't think Rendon cares.
Rendon doesn't
care. I don't think Rendon cares at all.
He got his ring, bro. He don't care anymore. He got paid.
He don't care.
He don't care. He
don't care.
Worst contract ever. Screw him. And screw the Dodgers.
Worst contract ever. Screw the Dodgers. We're still bitter. I got my Dodgers shirt on. As you can see, like if you're on YouTube, I still got my Dodgers shirt on. And one of the reasons that I did is like, I just wanted to show support. Like I felt like, am I upset that he lost? Like when we'll get into it, we're not a Dodgers podcast. We're getting into all sports. Don't worry. Just hang out a second. Hang with us. Like one of the reasons I wore it was like, I'm not surprised that the Dodgers lost. Like I'm not surprised that they didn't win the World Series. I'm more upset that we got swept. Like that is not the way. You know, like if the D-backs put together a great series and beat the Dodgers in 5, it's like this was never the year. Like we talk about teams like, right, look at football right now, right? Like all the Justin Jefferson, the Viking season's done. If you're a Vikings fan, your season's over, right? You look across like all of sports, right? Like NBA, right? Everybody's like when Kawhi goes down, the Clippers know their season's done, right? There's certain people that you lose. For baseball, like putting that into baseball terms, if you lose one starting pitcher, it sucks. It's not like losing Justin Jefferson, right? Because you have Justin Jefferson every single play that you're on offense. You do not have the same starting pitcher every single time you take the bump. But losing 4 of 5 of your starting pitchers and having your 5th starter be on his last legs, like can't even throw the ball 90 miles an hour, that's basically like losing Justin Jefferson and Osborne, right? Or Justin Jefferson and Addison, and if you're a different fan, that's like losing not just Stephon Diggs, but like Gabe Davis, right? It's like Miami not just losing Waddle, but losing Hill.
I get, if you lost to the Braves though, fine with the starting pitching that we had, but we lost to the we got swept by the Diamondbacks.
No, yeah, it's upsetting.
Besides game 1, games 2 and 3, they only scored 4 runs.
Right,
so
terrible.
Where our offense is, we didn't lose anyone on offense. And
tell you what,
and if you're talking about like the Rangers, like they lost their starting pitching all year. They had no one, and we can talk about it later. We'll talk about it later.
I will say, shout out to my boy, one of my favorite Dodgers, the dude that like I've been defending for years when there was guys talking about Cartea this and Cartea that. Will Smith, baby. Will Smith showed up. My boy Will Smith bashed.
CT3.
Boom.
Kike.
Boom. Let's go. Today there's a few NFL games. It's hard to believe we're already through 6 games. Like, do you find yourself 6. Like sitting there kind of watching this? You're just like, oh my goodness,
it's crazy, man. Like the hype, the buildup all off season. Like we started doing mock drafts, a month beforehand. We started talking about the season, all this stuff, and we're already through 6 weeks. Like
6 weeks.
It's insane. We're over a quarter way through the season now. It's nuts. It just flies by, dude. Like we're halfway through October. I don't know.
Yeah, it's flying. And I think what's more surprising, like today, I know you were watching because obviously you're a Niner fan, and I'm sure today was hard to watch.
Today was a bad game.
But the undefeateds go down. Like usually in football, I feel like at this point, there's sort of hardcore favorites.
Yeah.
Like there's like a team out there that you're like, oh my God, that team. How is anyone going to beat that team? Right. And usually it's like Kansas City or like the Bengals look good, or like before the season, everybody was talking about the Niners and the Eagles.
Right.
Like both those teams went down, and the only thing that could hurt the Niners was injuries, and it happened. Right. Yep. Christian McCaffrey is dealing with some lingering things. Debo was out. All of a sudden things started to look a little bit wobbly.
Yep.
Right. And this was a game which I will say give credit to. I felt like this was a game where Purdy struggled a lot of the game.
Yep.
But he did put together a drive to take the win.
They could have won.
They could have won. They still could have done it.
The kicker missed it, dude. A 41-yard field goal. Like that's the one thing that analysts have been saying about Purdy. It's like, well, like he never has to come from behind. So like, where is he? Like, where's his dog? Can he come back? And he did it. Like, even though he had such a bad game, and the Niners just as a team, it just wasn't working for them. They're on the road, East Coast trip against the Browns. And yet he puts together that drive and puts them in the position to win the game, and they just didn't do it. So, props to him. Of course, it's not going to come out on the stats in the box score that they won, but it's just props to the Browns, though, man. Like, that's just a team that is overlooked because they're the Browns. The defense is actually like a top 5 defense, both in rushing defense and passing defense, and they shut us down. Like, regardless of injuries, the Niners have a really good offensive scheme, regardless. Like, they can plug and play receivers, running backs. That's just how good Kyle Shanahan's schemes are. So props to the Browns. I'm not going to give any excuse as to why the Niners lost. It was really the Browns. They punched us in the face, and today we didn't get back up. So props to them. Undefeated to go down, man. Eagles, I cannot believe they lost to the Jets. Hurts threw 3 picks.
Wild.
Zach Wilson, he didn't turn the ball over. That's it. Like,
huge.
That's what he needs to do the rest of the season. Like, for them to be successful, he just doesn't need to turn the ball over. He is the perfect example of what a game manager is and should be. And just, throw the ball enough times, enough yards to let your team score, get a field goal, maybe get a rushing touchdowns, and don't fumble it. And don't throw it to the other team, because the defense on the other side is good enough to keep you in games. The Eagles offense is a top 5 offense, and Hurts is a top 3 quarterback in this league, and they're able to pick him off 3 times. That's saying a lot. So to make him struggle, like, it shows how good that team is and like the potential. I really wish Aaron Rodgers was healthy, because I feel like they'd be like 5-1 right now instead of 3-3. And props to Zach Wilson. Props to Zach Wilson for keeping them in the game. That's huge. It's huge for them.
Injuries happen, especially in the NFL.
They do. Oh, it's crazy though. Like, I feel like every year, bro, like the injury bug just keeps hitting teams more and more guys. Yeah. Is it because they don't play in the preseason games? Like all the starters, like that's just a thing. Like that started with the Rams. Like McVay's like, no, I'm not going to play my guys. But it just feels like more and more of these starters are just going down all the time. I don't know, man. I don't know what it is. It's crazy though. It sucks.
It's hard to watch. But I was so shocked because the Jets needed to drive to win, and they did it. Right? Like, they were losing, and then they got the drive, and that was the most surprising part, because the Eagles' offense has already struggled. Right. But the way that the Jets were able to dismantle the defense, Breece Hall just all over. Garrett Wilson, like Zach Wilson, just here you go, Garrett. Get up there and win it. He left with an injury. Hopefully he's okay. Again, another injury. Yep. But that was quite surprising. And like you said, the Niners just struggling. I mean, we all knew if CMC went down, that offense was going to look a little bit different. Yeah. Jason Stroman and I have like pretty differing opinions on Ayuk. He's talked about to me openly that he feels like Ayuk is a dog, that he is one of the true blue great receivers in the game. And I'm like, you know what? I like Ayuk, but I'm not there with him yet. I think he needs those other pieces. And I feel like this is a real opportunity for him to, with McCaffrey down, for him to establish himself and like show Purdy, hey, I'm your safety valve. I'm all you need, baby. Right. And unfortunately, I mean, again, the Browns defense, credit to them. They were able to shut him down, but it was obviously still a very close game. But I mean, it was wild to watch them lose, because those were really the 2 teams, even more than Kansas City. Like, we saw Kansas City struggle against Denver. Right. Yeah. Yeah. So it was even like, we knew that these 2 teams, like after watching it, I was like, okay, the Niners and the Eagles, like these are the 2 teams that seem unbeatable. Yeah. Because up till this week, I mean, the Eagles had struggled a little bit, but especially the Niners is like, dude, who is going to stop them? But the Browns last week really did
against the Cowboys. Like, it's like, yeah, no one can stop this team. But then I'm like, you know what? Like, no team goes undefeated. Like, no, it's only happened one time. It's okay. Like, I'd rather lose in October than in January and February,
or be the Patriots, lose at the end of the season. Like, that would suck.
I know, right? Go 16-0 and then losing the Super Bowl.
Patriots fans are holding on to that one, baby. I don't know if you know, they're 1-5. They are.
Yeah. Dude, they lost to the Raiders.
Like, I'm serious. I really do think, Raiders. Well, everybody else was talking and saying, they got to unleash Mac Jones. They got to do that like last year. And Matt Patricia's so terrible. And I really think that Matt Patricia showed up and was like, this is your quarterback. Like, nah, we're going to run the ball. We're going to, because, and the wild part is, which doesn't make any sense to me, if you watch them be successful, they're checking it down to like Ramondre and they look good. They look good, and then they just can't, like, Mac can't handle it.
Right.
Mac's like, no, I'm not just going to check the ball down. So he tries to go deep and just throws an interception. Like, he had one of the ugliest interceptions that I think I've ever seen from a court. Like, nobody was hitting him. He was rolling to his right. He's right-handed, rolling to his right. So it wasn't like he needed to, like, get his hips around and, like, Patrick Mahomes this thing, and he, like, threw it and just completely, like, biffed. Just, like, whiffed on the throw. Like, it looked so bad. Yeah. It was like, what is happening right now? Like, this is insane.
I mean, they whiffed. They whiffed on that draft pick, bro. Like, that's probably one of Bill Belichick's, like, worst decisions ever as a coach, is to draft him. Like, you go from Tom Brady to Mac Jones, really? Like, like just oh my God, dude, black apples and oranges right there. He doesn't look comfortable. He doesn't. I feel like
looks awful.
Looks worse than Zach Wilson now. Like, I think Zach Wilson has elevated his game to a point where you can say that he's a better option than Mac Jones, in my opinion. And you lost to a Raider team who had an injured Devontae Adams, who only had 2 receptions. An injured Jimmy Garoppolo, again, hurt his back. You lost to Brian Hoyer, your backup quarterback, who last like 6 seasons. So they're just bad, man. Like, I wonder if they're going to tank. Like, I really wonder if Caleb Williams, and we'll talk about him later, but if, like, he's the guy that they're putting their sights on, because Mac Jones is just not your future. Like, you need to move on from this guy, because he's just ruining Bill Belichick's legacy at this point. That's really what he's doing. It's bad.
The problem is, how are you going to tank worse than the Vikings? Because I like, if you're a Jefferson owner, I'm going to be honest with you. But still, like, they're not going to do. They beat the Bears without Justin Fields. Like, he went down, and that was it. Like, I don't think they're going to bring, like, especially with Jefferson out. Like, I don't see them like, oh, let's go for it. Let's make it. Like, that division is the Lions.
Okay, like, but here's the thing, Kirk Cousins, you're going to win just by default.
Trade him.
He's not going to waive his trade clause this year. He said. So he's staying on the team. Oh, and so
that's such a bummer. Why would he do that?
And you can't
go to the Jets.
Bench a guy who's making
to the Jets.
$40 million a year, right? Like, you can't
go to the Washington. Go to the Commanders. The Commanders, like, arguably, look at that team. They are arguably a good quarterback. Sure, I know.
Yeah,
but they're winning. Don't get me wrong. The Washington Commanders. I'm not trying to poop on. If you're a Washington Commanders fan, listen to this. Like, oh God, stop! Don't. We won. Like, I'm not trying to poop. I'm just saying. Like, if he goes to the Washington Commanders, they're all of a sudden they could win that division.
Where he started.
They could win that division.
That'd be cool, man. Go full circle.
How you like that? How you like that? You know what I mean? Or the Jets? Why would he do that? This makes no sense to me. Go to one of the.
It's Kirk Cousins, bro. He's weird. But he's better than what people give him credit for. That's
I mean, both those teams have 1 win, correct? The Vikings and the Patriots, they both have 1 win.
No, the Vikings have 2 wins.
They have 2 wins now.
Yes.
So the Patriots
1 wins is the Bears, the Patriots, and the Cardinals this year.
Okay.
So, and the Giants. After tonight's loss. Ooh, the Giants. Wait,
list those again one more time.
So, Cardinals,
1 win
Giants,
teams. Cardinals, Giants.
Patriots.
Well, the Giants are out because they just paid, whether they like it or not, they just paid Daniel Jones.
No, but they can cut him. They can cut him, though. With that,
they can cut him.
Remember, they made that contract so, like, if he sucked in, like, his first year or the second year, they can cut him and they won't have, like, dead money. Ouch. It's not, like, all guaranteed. So
wow.
So that's what it was, a smart contract, and he signed it. So it's the Giants, the Cardinals, the Bears, and the Patriots.
But Williams already came out and said, right? Caleb already came out and said, he's like, I'm not just playing for anybody.
So, and the Broncos. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Does anybody want to get, like, if he said that about the Cardinals, like, did the Broncos seem better? Like, did the Broncos seem better? I was watching oh my God, I can't believe I forgot her name. She makes a bunch of videos, like, where she talks about different NFL teams, and it's hilarious. Like, she is so funny.
I would get drafted by the Broncos. Like, Sean, I think Russell Wilson's the problem. Like, all right. He just doesn't have it anymore, man. Like, he doesn't. I feel like Pete Carroll, like, this shows the genius of Pete Carroll. And I know there's a lot of people that don't like Pete Carroll, but he made Russell Wilson, that offense, really good. Like, there was different phases of that team, different versions of that team. And every time, no matter what, Pete Carroll made them look good and competitive, and they made the playoffs a bunch of times. Sean Payton, it's his first year. Like, he has to clean shop. Like, he's not just going to come in and just, throw everyone out. And the only thing, though, I would say is that the contract that Russell Wilson has is atrocious for the Broncos. Like, he still has 3 years left or 4 actually under this contract, and he's paying them like $48 million a year, and it's all guaranteed. So if they move on from him, they still owe him that money, and it's dead. It's dead cap at that point. So I don't know if they could draft him. I don't know.
But I have to say this though. Annie, her name's Annie, by the way, Annie Ager, whatever it is, but she's hilarious. She her whole thing is she puts like NFL teams like in uncomfortable meetings. Like, so she'll like stand there, sit there, and like, it's hilarious, dude. If you're going to check out her TikTok, it's hilarious. But one of the ones she did was like, I just need a quarterback. It shows like Sean Payton. He's like, I just need a quarterback that I can develop. And like, so the NFL's like, when was the last time you developed a quarterback? And he's like, Taysom Hill. Like, because Drew Brees he did not develop Drew Brees. No. You could not convince me that he developed Drew Brees. There's like this really funny video of like him saying, I just need a quarterback that I can develop. She's freaking hilarious. But yeah, no, I think that's the other problem with like Caleb Williams. As we talk about it, it's like, forget it. We're going to go out of order because it's our podcast. We can do whatever we want. This is the issue though. Right. So just like the NFL, when we're talking about teams that looked unbeatable, like Bill Belichick, it's like in the world of sports, like how quickly can things change? Right. So for instance, right. Bill Belichick, right. Like 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, not 10 years, 4 or 5 years ago, it was being argued, is this the greatest coach of all time?
Right.
Should we rename the Lombardi? Like that was a question being asked. Should we rename the Lombardi? And now we're saying, is he even a decent coach without Tom Brady?
Right.
Like if he doesn't have the GOAT, can he do it? Because he had runs. People forget he had other head coaching jobs before the Patriots, and he got fired.
Right.
Like he was not good.
Right.
Like he lost those positions and then had to work his way back. And granted, he was always like this really great defensive coach. So he was on teams that like did really well on defense, like 100%. Like I'm not arguing like his prowess as a defensive mind.
Right.
Having said that, without Tom Brady, it really seems like, because everybody said the same thing about like, and this is my argument for your boy, right? For your boy specifically. I know he had a bad game, and there's going to be a lot of haters right now that come out of the woodwork and say, "Oh, Brock Purdy sucks." Shut up. Okay. He just lost his first game ever. All right. That he finished.
Right.
This was his first loss ever.
Right.
I'm not here for it. Don't tell me about it. I'm not a Niner fan, and I'm not going to listen to you. I don't care what you have to say, because next week, dude's going to come out and ball with Kittle and Ayuk, and he's going to look fantastic. I'm telling you right now, he's going to get a dub. I'm not even worried about it. And I'm not a Niner fan, so I don't have to be worried about it. Regardless, point is, like, I'm tired. Like, that was such a side rant of like, I'm so tired of hearing this word, system quarterback. Every quarterback is a system quarterback. Every NFL team has a system. It's not like not like they just send these quarterbacks out and like, hey, you are the system.
Just do it.
Right.
Free for all.
You're the system.
Figure it out. There's no
go do
here.
it. Right.
Yeah. There'd be no need for an offensive coordinator.
Right.
No need for play calls.
We're running slants. Like, no.
You think that, you think that Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady were just calling their own plays all the time? No.
Granted, they walk out there and they have like 10 plays they can, right? Tom Brady, there's notoriously would go out there and just call his own plays.
They have the option, but not the
inside
whole game.
Of a game, inside of the book.
Yes,
right. Inside of the system.
All part of the game.
This idea, like people are like, I'm not here for that. Okay. Don't at me, bro, about Brock Purdy being done. I don't want to hear it. Regardless, again, the point of my rant, that my initial rant before the secondary rant, because we never keep a brevity. That's the whole point of our name. Never. It's if you haven't figured it out yet.
Any brevity person's just like, God, these guys suck.
Every brevity person on the face here is like, you guys are awful. Yeah, you're terrible.
Keep listening.
Yeah. It's like us and Ryan Clark just hanging out in a corner, not keeping a brevity at all. So see, Mitch, there it is. Mitchy Muffins. I put us on the same level because he also doesn't keep brevity. Okay, listen. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. So with Caleb Williams, right, as things change, right, we're talking about these NFL teams tanking for a guy who's openly said, look, I'm not just going to go anywhere. Like his dad came out, he's not going anywhere. Caleb Williams came out, I can make more money staying at USC. What we just saw from USC this last weekend, he looked Awful.
Like
Notre Dame picked him off 3 times. He didn't look like he could get anything done. Granted, his O-line let him down, but he looked terrible. Right? He looked absolutely awful.
But that was his strength. Like, even when the offensive line, the pocket broke down, he was able to escape and create something out of nothing. And last night, he was not 3 picks in the first half, not even just in the game. Like, he had 3 picks in the first half. And you just see him, man. Like, he just didn't look engaged. Every time he went over to the sideline, he was barking at another teammate, barking at the coach.
Right.
And what I saw was someone who needs to grow as a leader last night. That's what I saw. It wasn't because whenever you saw Tom Brady throw a pick, whenever you saw any great throw a pick, the first thing they do is they go to the sideline and they look at that tablet. They look at the films. Like, what can I do to fix what I just did so it doesn't happen again? That wasn't the case last night. It was just a blame game. And I don't know what he said after the game. I didn't listen to the post-game press conference, but it just looked like he just wasn't there to blame himself. He wasn't there to pick his own teammates up. It was, you guys need to block better. You didn't run that route the right way. That's why I threw it that way. And I don't know, man. Like, his stock fell last night, in my opinion. I don't know.
So this is different to me than like a Brock Purdy. We've seen him do it on the biggest stage. We saw him do it in the playoffs, right? For me, when you see Caleb Williams, because I just had a conversation about this with Jason the Showman Stroman last week. We were talking about Caleb Williams, and he was talking about, wait, does this like kind of put the college player in the driver's seat versus the NFL? Like, is the NFL going to have to figure this out? I think, and I told him before I even saw this game, I told him, honestly, I think this thing figures itself out, because at the end of the day, one of 2 things is going to happen. Either the kid is going to stay in college for another year and get hurt and lose money that way, because unlike, the NIT, whatever, it's not guaranteed money like it is in the pros. If you go sign a $60 million, look at Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson go down next week, he's guaranteed that money. That money is in his bank account, regardless if he starts or sits, whatever it is. You're not going to get that type of money in college football. The other thing is a lot of people, not just Jason, but a lot of other people in ESPN, Fox, they're talking about Caleb Williams as sort of generational talent. This generational talent that can sort of demand this money, demand where he goes. And that's exactly what brought us here, is we're talking about some of these teams tanking for him. My issue is that the all-time greats, when you talk about the vast majority of the all-time greats, right? Montana obviously was a GOAT at Notre Dame, right? But he's not the GOAT. Tom Brady is. Tom Brady was nobody. Kurt Warner, one of the greatest to ever do it, not even drafted. So this term, like all-time great, like this is how quickly the landscape changes in sports. Like the idea that you're bigger than the NFL, that you can sit there and say like, no, I'm not going to this team or I'm not going to that team. And granted, I defended him. I said a couple weeks ago, I was like, look, like if you don't want to go to the Cardinals, I get it, because the Cardinals have so quickly moved off of some of their pieces. But at the end of the day, I feel like you're like, after watching this is a great reminder. Nobody is above going to the Cardinals. You are still going to be playing with NFL talent, right? You are still going to be playing for an NFL team with guaranteed money, more than likely, especially if you're the number 1 overall pick. Like, how do you pass that up? And now, after, like you said, his stock unquestionably went down. This is the first time anyone has seen Caleb Williams be faced with like true blue adversity and get bucked like this, right? In Utah, nobody blamed him. He got a pass.
Yeah, the offense. Yeah, the offense was there. It wasn't his fault.
Right. And he was injured. He did it on one leg, and I was like, wow. Like they lost. But it was like, whoa. Like he still did everything he could do. This was the first time that we all saw, like, wait a minute, he's getting stopped by college talent. That makes me nervous, right?
And
that makes me slightly nervous.
That you're saying, oh, they gave up 48 points. It was the defense actually played really well. It's because Caleb Williams kept throwing interceptions, and it was deep in their own territory.
Right.
So what's the defense going to do? Like, they're going to get 20 yards, that's just going to happen. There's a kickoff return, pick 6. Like, the defense did what they had to do last night on the road in Notre Dame, a crazy environment, rivalry game, and he just wasn't there. And like you said, you highlighted it greatly. He didn't blow up and expose that college defense. He didn't.
Right.
And yeah, it was his first time not doing well, of course, fine. But if you're going to come out and make claims like, well, I'm too good to play for the Cardinals,
I can make more money in college football. Well, you keep playing this, you're going to lose money.
But also, Also, he can't like his salary this year and his NIL is like 2.3 million, which is a lot of money. But like if you're a number 1 overall pick, like you're making like 43 million guaranteed. Like,
right.
You know, like you're not going to make more money NIL deals than you are in the NFL.
Right.
And he's going to go to the NFL. Like whether it's the Cardinals, the Bears, the Vikings, whatever it is, like he's going to decide to go there because like you said, there's been so many guys that have chosen to stay an extra year in college because whatever reason, whatever it is, and they got hurt and their stock plummeted and they got drafted, 5 rounds later than they would have got drafted in.
It's so funny, this idea. Like, if you're listening to this podcast right now and you've ever been around like youth sports, the idea of like, don't buy your own hype.
Right.
Like we as coaches tell our kids that, like, do not buy your own hype. Right. Like, keep working hard. Like I'm a big fan of, like, I'll tell Jaden, like when he's getting in the truck and he had a good game and I'm like, I blow him up. I'm like, dude, you had a great game. Good job, bud. And he's like, he gets a little bit big, and like Monday, I'm like, hey, bud, you want to go outside, throw some balls or whatever? Like, or maybe he doesn't ask me. Like, usually does dad, let's go play some catch. I'm like, hey, bud, we don't want to play baseball, or you should, whatever, a couple days go by, whatever it is. Cause I won't lie, dude. I think there's a lot of parents out there that like throw their kids way too much. Like, dude, let your kid relax. Let your kid be a kid. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to say that. Let your kid be a kid. Huge fan of that. Having said that, there is a certain work ethic that, like, when you're like, hey, let's not buy our own hype here, right? Let's stay. What happens when a kid comes along who can play first base better than you? Because it's just a matter of time, right? Right. So that to me is the issue with a guy like Caleb Williams, who's saying like, oh yeah, I'm not going to go because I'm not going to this team. I'm not going to that team. I only want to go to this team, and this team. It's like, well, what happens next year when a freshman who the country's not seen, right? Because right now he's playing high school. He's balling for Mater Day or whatever. Like, it was like a crazy high school game that just went down where Mater Day played somebody and somebody won. And it was wild. It was wild. Wow. I watched it. The best part was it was so entertaining. I didn't even know who was playing. I was watching it. I was like, oh, this is wild. These kids are high school kids, and the red team was getting blown out by the other team. And I was like, oh, this is not supposed to happen. Right. But regardless, that shows how much we care about high school football. Exactly. At that point, right. These are two of the premier high school teams, and like scouts care. Colleges care. Exactly. Like, those who are like extremely obsessed with their college football teams care, but nobody cares. Nobody knows what's going to end up. Right. I was watching a show, a couple years ago. Did you ever check out the show, Big Z, QB1? You ever seen it?
I know what it is. I haven't seen it though.
Okay. So QB1, it's like, it was a show on Netflix, right? And a couple years ago, like, kids like Justin Fields were on there. I brought it up a couple times. Like, Sam Hartman was on there at one point. It's like, but it's wild. Like, you saw this kid, right? I think it was the first season. There was a kid named Tate Martell. Right. And then there's a kid named Jake Fromm. Right. And nobody was all over Jake Fromm. Like, Tate Martell was the dude. He played, matter of fact, he played for one of the schools, whether it was Mater Day or the other one, St. John Bosco. That's the name. That's the name. I think he played for St. John Bosco. And nobody was on this kid, Jake Fromm. Jake Fromm was from another state. Like, and he was touted, obviously he was on Netflix. Like, he was big. Yeah, but he was not nearly the big deal that Jake Fromm was. Like, everybody's talking about Jake Fromm, Tate Martell. We know, right? Now, Jake Fromm went on and won multiple national championships with Georgia. Granted, in the NFL, it hasn't really panned out. I think he's on a practice squad somewhere. I could not tell you where, but he's still there. And Tate Martell, I looked him up before I made this point, just to see where he was. He's very successful. He's got his own successful business. Good for him. Shout outs. Yeah. He had a great college career, whatever it was. But it never worked out for him, even in college. Right. So, like, the idea that, like, we know or have any idea of, like, this is the next grade. This is the next big thing. Oh, Caleb Williams is going to be the next grade. No, you don't know that. For all you know. Yeah. For all you know, in the NFL next year, another Brock Purdy is going to get drafted. Exactly. Another Tom Brady is going to get drafted. This kid that was never supposed to be good, but then ends up incredible. Right. Takes the starting role. If you were a betting man, you would have bet every red cent, right? That Trey Lance was going to be twice the quarterback that Purdy would ever be.
Based off,
and that's not what happened.
Yep. I know. You're right.
So we don't know.
That's sports, man. That's the sports world.
And that to me is why I told Jason, getting back to our original point in all of this, not keeping your brevity, in sports especially, you've got to shoot your shot. If you get drafted number 1 overall, who cares where you go? Go shoot. Take a lesson from our boy, CJ Stroud. who has turned around the Texans. We said, you and I said, everybody said it would take more than a quarterback to turn that team around. He's like, nah, fam, I'm going to make these guys competitive. Right. I don't know that they make the playoffs, but they're sure fun to watch. All of a sudden, we're talking about Nico Collins.
Yeah, nobody exactly.
That dude's name last year. He was a bust lad. It was like, oh, he's never going to be that good. Tank Dell. Why do I know that name? You know?
Exactly, bro. Like
last year, we were talking about Damian Pierce. Now it's like Nico Collins. That's the dog.
We called it, bro. Like, this is the guy. Like,
we said
you draft this guy number one.
Don't take Young.
Don't you take Young? Like, he's too small.
And we don't know what we're talking about. That's the best part. All the analysts are like, no. Young is the dude. And we're like, no, he's smaller. Yeah. He's not as fast. He's not as strong. And he played on Alabama. He was playing on a pro offense.
The NFL. Did you watch Ohio State versus Georgia in the college football playoff?
Right.
Like, he just went off. Like, his coach was like, okay, fine, just do it. Like, you're not coming back next year. You're going to be drafted. Just do what you can do. You can freaking scramble. You can pass down the field. You can do whatever. Like, we know it. Like, we're just going to unleash you. And once I saw that, I was like, this guy's easily by far better than Bryce Young. Who cares that he's on Alabama? What Alabama quarterback has ever done well in the NFL?
Nope.
Exactly. Like, come on.
There's just sometimes you gotta be able to look at the name. It's the same reason that I still, even though he got injured and let me down this week, it's one of the reasons I still believe in Justin Fields. I still remember him taking it to an unbeatable, untouchable Clemson team.
Right.
And I remember him just like doing it by himself, just like hucking the ball 80 yards on one foot. And it's like, how can this guy not be good? I don't understand. Like, I saw it all. I saw it all from this guy.
You saw it all, man. But you don't know. You don't know, bro.
You don't know.
Never know.
You don't know. I mean, I lost in most of my fantasy games, so I don't know. I'm not a good person to ask. I have one chance to win one game. And for that to happen, I literally need Keenan Allen to get me 30. If Keenan Allen gets me 30, I'm in good shape.
There you go. I need the Cowboys kicker to get me 17 tomorrow night. So
the Cowboys kicker, baby.
If Dak keeps doing Dak things, not doing well, and just keeps, chucking it up on third down and getting incomplete passes, like he has been this whole season, there's a world where he can get me 17 points, a few 50-yarders, some PATs. It's possible. But in our league, nah, not doing it. not good tonight. No. I don't know what the Falcons are doing with Bijan Robinson.
It's wild. It's wild.
37 yards rushing. Like, you're letting Tyler Algier outrush him. Like, Bijan Robinson's the best weapon that you have. And you lost the game because of that. 100%. Right. Calvin Ridley just disappeared again. After week 1, I was so pumped about him. And then he just hasn't been good since. And yeah, man, it just sucks. It's like for 1 second, we forgot that Baker is Baker. Because he's very likable. He is, and I still like him. Like, I still hope that I'm rooting for them. I want Tampa Bay to do well. But like, for 1 second, right? It's like Geno. It's like before the season where I have to remind everybody, Geno Smith is still Geno Smith, right? Like, he's still, like, he's good. Right.
But he's not going to get you 300. Like, last year you went off and it was awesome. And it was a great story. Right. And obviously we're rooting for him. How can you not root for a story like that? But at the same time, when I was hearing, the Seahawks are going to compete with the Niners for this division, I was like, no, they're not. No, they're not. They might beat the Rams. Like, they may be better than the Rams. Like, that's more their like weight class.
Right.
But the Niners, when you looked across, I mean, now with some of the injuries, maybe it opens it up. I think the Rams are 3-3. I think the Seahawks now are 4-2 or 4-3. So I mean, that division kind of opens up a little bit. I mean, the Lions, everything's open, right? The Lions are running away with that one. And the Eagles are still well atop their division. Like, they're doing just fine.
Right.
You still got the Baltimore, they're doing their thing, but that division now, the Bengals all of a sudden are 3-3. Like, the whole thing is wide open.
Right.
I'll tell you what sport needs to figure out how to make the regular season count. Okay. And it seems like the NFL has actually done this, because when a wild card team wins the Super Bowl, it's like, whoa,
right.
Wild card team did it. They did it. And maybe because it's so grueling, right? Hockey, same thing. Like, it's happened where the 8 seed and the 6 seed have done it and they get hot at the right time. But predominantly, it's like what we saw last year, where the Vegas Golden Knights, the best team in the West for all the season, pretty much won the whole thing. Like that, we see in other sports. In baseball, quite the opposite. All of a sudden, the best 4 teams in the NL side have gone home, right? And in the American League side, very similar. Baltimore, gone. right? A lot of these teams, the Astros were had to play in the wild card. They were the team, right? I apologize. Minnesota was the team.
Yep.
So they had the second best record.
Right.
So they're still in it. They're the one representing. Yep. Does baseball, as we look at these baseball playoffs, the MLB, right? And I'm still excited about it. I am absolutely going to be watching the Rangers just obliterated the Astros tonight. I love it.
I love it.
Corey Seager, we're rooting against the Astros. That goes without saying.
Wholeheartedly.
Dude, I don't know what to do. Because I think the Phillies are going to mop the D-backs. All disrespect intended towards the D-backs.
I think so.
But who knows? Who knows?
We also thought the Dodgers would mop the D-backs too. Like
we thought they'd mop them, but the Phillies are so hot, right? I mean, the Phillies are. It's like they're like, if you're a Phillies fan, okay, like we're getting off topic, but it's okay. If you're a Phillies fan, how can you not just be so excited and over the moon about Bryce Harper? Like a dude that came to your city was like, I'm signing a 12-year deal. I don't want any opt-outs.
Yep.
This is my home. Nope. I want to win here.
Yep.
And he's got that grit. He's around in second base last week, just eyeing Arcia. And the best part was Arcia's best comeback was, you weren't supposed to hear that. Meh. You weren't supposed to hear that. Meh. It's like, come on. Of course, everything is on the record. You're a professional athlete. Everything is on the record. It's not a secret. There's reporters in the clubhouse every post game regular season. You don't think there's reporters in the clubhouse?
Just blame the media. I mean, come on,
son.
Like at that point, you knew they lost. You know, like
you're playing the Tigers in the middle of August, and there's reporters in the clubhouse.
Sources, bro. Come on, sources. There's always sources. Come on, dude. There's always rumblings out of the clubhouse. Come on, dude. Like. When he said that, I was like, all right, they're done. Like this is what they're worrying about. Like he didn't own it. Like if he had been like, yeah, I said it, I messed up, you know, and he got back at me. Good for him. Okay, cool. Turn it over, move on to the next day. But he's like, oh, they I didn't think you'd get out. You know, like the clubhouse is a sacred spot. And then,
it's not. No, it's not,
bro. Like,
it hasn't been a club. It hasn't been sick. Once you guys started making $300 million a year, stop being a sacred spot.
Exactly.
There's no privacy there, dude.
No.
My wife, and then to top it all off, my wife looks at me after the game. She's just like, "Oh my god!" I said, "What?" She's like, "Who's that?" So you said Bryce Harper? She goes, "Oh my god!" I was like, "You know Bryce Harper was this attractive? He's a good looking dude. He's got the beard, he's got the hair, he's got the light eyes." She was like, "I never looked at him," and I was like, "What?" I knew that, and I'm super straight. I don't like. I knew that.
I mean, in my house, we call him Mr. Tumnus from The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe because he kind of looks like him. If you've seen that movie,
Tumnus,
Mr. Tumnus, the like half human, half.
Is this the second movie?
No, the first one, bro. The first
Lion.
one.
Oh my god, I was thinking of the Wizard of Oz. I was thinking of the wrong movie. Look, Tumnus the lion. There's a lion.
Yeah, dude, Mr. Tumnus, dude. Mr. Tumnus.
He's way better looking than that guy. You're talking about the dude who gets like he gets frozen and then
the goat guy. The
goat. No, he does not. Stop it. What's wrong with you? Haley's just making you feel good. You're making a joke, and Haley's like,
dude,
babe, he's super ugly.
She loves Gabe Kapler. She loves Gabe Kapler, the former Giants manager.
This is far worse.
This is far worse.
Why would you admit this on this podcast? How dare you?
It's so sad, dude. It's so sad. Every time they play the Giants, she's like, "Ooh, look, there he is." And I'm like, "No, you know who she does love though, more than Gabe?
Who
is Bobby Miller?
Boy, dude, Bobby.
She's like, "Ooh, look at my boy." I'm like, "What the like?"
No.
We have to square up with this guy,
Bobby.
This is my guy. But I'm gonna have to square up with him. Like, come on, dude.
You know what I mean?
Like, get off my TV screen. Get out of my wife's eyes. Like, get out of her heart. Like, this is my girl.
You gotta do the opposite. You gotta go get a ball and tell her, like, dude, my wife is obsessed with you. Can I get a signed autograph? Can you sign it for my wife?
You know, yeah. You're
gotta be confident. You're
so
Big
much more
Z.
civil, dude. You're so much more civil.
No. I'm just confident. You're Big Z. You're Catch. You're Big Z. You're the stallion.
Sure.
You're the stallion.
Yeah, that's right. What's up, Bobby?
What's up? Yeah, so what? You can make millions, throw the ball 98 miles an hour.
That ain't nothing. That ain't nothing on me.
I got a podcast 50 people listen to every week. What's up? What you know about me, bro?
Dang, dude. We've
gotten way off topic.
Always.
The best is when that like Danielle like loves me enough to like pretend sometimes, you know, she's like, he's not that good looking. I'm like, babe, come on. She's like, yeah, you're right.
I'll Mr. Tumnus, you know, I'm sure. in
Yeah.
my
Oh,
household.
dude.
Yeah.
She's like, look at yeah, he's real ugly, man.
That's Mr. Tumnus, all right. Yeah.
But a little part of you, like, if he looked if she looked at Bryce Harper and was like, he's ugly, wouldn't she be like, what? So if he's
Oh
ugly,
yeah, dude. I bet no.
what
That's
am
a good,
I?
like,
Wait, hold on. What am I?
Yeah,
He's like,
yeah.
wait a second.
Wait, if he's a 4, like, am I
I'm like,
-8?
am I a -12? Like, what are we talking about here? But regardless, the point remains. Okay, before we got off
You
topic,
gotta be stoked if you're a Phillies fan that this is your guy.
even before that point, that was the first off point. The original question was,
Oh, right.
does MLB have a problem
They don't have a problem
right now? No problem.
Dude,
Nothing to fix.
this is okay. As a Dodger fan, before they changed the format into what it is now, the Dodgers still choked. Like, I have the perfect example that it doesn't matter what the format is. This is just baseball.
Yep.
Like, baseball, like the only thing that I could see them doing to maybe like if this is the real cause, the actual cause for this, all these teams is choking, is you have to expand the playoffs again, add an extra 2 teams to each side, and do what the NBA does, and just have 8 teams on each side, and have the 1 play the 8, the 2 the 7, the 3 the 6, and the 4 and the 5. That's the only way that you can fix it with no bias. That's the only way that you can maybe fix it, if you deem this the cause of your best teams always flailing out in the playoffs. But I don't even know, like, was that the case last year too? I don't even know. Like, I can't, besides the Dodgers. But again, and you can attest to this, the Dodgers just suck in the playoffs. Like,
We're just bad.
We just choke no matter who's on the team. Ever since Friedman got there, they've been in the playoffs every year, which is great.
Right.
But they just flail out. So besides 2020, but that's a whole different story. So I just feel like it's the combination. A lot of things can be true. Like, your players just aren't clutch. Maybe the bye hurts you because the wild card teams are still playing, so they're in rhythm, and then especially if they sweep the team, they're on fire and they're just going to the next series.
See, that argument to me, like, because I heard the announcers talking about it, like, oh, you can't. There's no way for you to mimic. It's like a week off. It's like, first of all, like, how do I need to psych you up to play in the NLDS?
Right. Exactly.
Like, you're not taking your hacks. You're not taking your swings. Like this, like, it's to me, I don't understand. Like, I get the momentum argument. Like, there's momentum. They're building magic. They're getting hot. But at the same time, getting rest, like getting your starters in order, right. Like, it's such an advantage. The only thing, because I don't want them to expand it again. I'm not going to lie. I think there's plenty of playoff teams now.
I agree.
I think it'd be kind of dumb.
I think it's a cop-out.
The one thing that I thought of, is if you're a wild card team, you should get no days off. So just like what they did, like, it should just make it more of a gauntlet. So you play 3 games. If you win in 2, that next day, blank, this team comes to town. Like, or you're on a plane. So, like, the night you win, there's no, like, you could champagne it up, but you're on a plane that night, right, coming out to whoever it is to play them. That is the only thing that I could think of.
I just think that's tough, though. Like, when it comes to, like, the TV, the broadcasting schedules, like, right. I don't know if you could. That'd be tough, I think, for the MLB.
It would be tough.
Like, hey, TBS and Fox.
It would be tough.
You have to, like,
but if you're looking for a solution,
yeah,
like,
I agree.
I think that's one of the only viable things, because at the end of the day, how do you put, like, dude, you got to show up. I mean, you talk about guys like, again, we're Dodger fans, so it's a little bit closer to home. We know a few more stats about it. I'm not going to lie to you. Yeah. Like Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts going 1 for 24, 25.
The only hit they had was an infield single.
Like, there's nothing you can do.
Right. But, like, I'm curious to see, like, when there was the 1 game playoff, or the 1 game wild card, there was a lot of times that the wild card team went on to win the World Series, and it was only like 1 day off for the other teams. It wasn't like this big, wasn't a whole week off thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know, bro. I just think it's an excuse. It's a cop out, in my opinion. I feel like someone's trying to blame it on something that's not really there. Like, your guys need to get psyched up. Like, Mookie has to show energy. Freddie has to show energy. Right. Ronald Acuna has to get more than 2 hits. Like, he had 40 home runs and 70 stolen bases.
Yep.
These guys have to show heart. And for you to go into a series just because you had over 100 wins, It doesn't matter whether it's NBA and you get the most wins, NHL. It doesn't matter how many wins you have in the regular season. If you don't have the same heart and the same drive as your opponent, you're gonna lose.
Yeah.
And if you don't care about that, then fine. Like that's on you. And that's a whole other issue and a whole other conversation, but you're going to lose it. It's not the fact that you had a week off and that they didn't. It's not. And so MLB, I thought originally I was against them expanding the playoffs years ago, but I think it's super great that they did because it gets all those extra teams in. And I love that they took away the 1 game playoff because baseball is so random because like a ball can kick one way and then it just opens up, a can of worms.
It's too quick.
And you can lose in 1 game after 162 games.
It's too quick.
It's too quick. But 3-game playoff is fine, in my opinion.
Like I said, the only thing I could think of that makes sense, if that is your concern, which I think you got to get gamed up. I think your manager has to have you ready. Look at Dusty Baker. The Astros are still doing it. They did just fine.
Right.
Get yourself a good manager. Dodgers, I do think if you're a Dodger fan, this should probably be the end. I think there's a few teams that their managers are probably on the hot seat. I know the Dodgers for sure. There's a couple of, you're a Braves fan. Are you feeling good right now? Your team, it wasn't good.
Yeah, they won.
Granted, they won a World Series 2 years ago.
A couple of years ago. It'd be
a year after the Dodgers.
Yeah, but again, and every year that the Dodgers keep choking and flailing out, 2020 just looks worse.
It's shorter season.
The excuse that everyone else gives all the Dodger haters, it was 60 games. So your guys were not injured, they were ready.
Well, that was the biggest thing. The biggest difference in that season was everyone, which is why I still think which is why for me, it still hasn't lost any value. It hasn't lost any value on my end, only because every team that year had their best. Everyone got into that 60-game window. It was like, we got our aces. We got our team. And Friedman put together the best possible team, and it showed. In 162 games, a lot of times it's no one has their aces. Hopefully you got one left, maybe, and a decent bullpen, and you got the depth. That, what made that playoff set so fun to me, at least, was every team had all of their pieces ready to go. Well, majority did. There was a couple freak injuries, but regardless, I'm with you on this. I don't think you change much. I don't think you add more teams. I think if there's anything you do, I think all you can do is shorten it, make it more of a gauntlet for these wild card teams. All right, you made the wild card, season ends Sunday, Monday, boom. Wild card series. And that it would be hard. So baseball would have to figure that out. They have a whole off season or whatever figured out. Boom. Monday, wild card starts. Boom. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you could play. Monday, Tuesday, you play. As soon as you're done, fine. One off day, just to make it fair a little bit. Maybe one travel day, and then boom. Next series. You're not waiting. If you sweep, there's not this 2 or 3 day layover. Right.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's one day. And then boom, you're back in. That way, if you are a winner, you get that 4 day. We're talking about what? Season ends Sunday, right? Most people play on Saturday or Sunday. So tops, you're talking about the 4 days off. Now there's no excuse. I don't want to hear about the week layoff because that was the biggest excuse that I heard so far coming from not just teams, but the commentators as well. Well, the week off really hurts you. Fine, let's get rid of that. Let's do 4 days. And now all of a sudden, let's see what we get.
But that was the point in winning your division, was to get a week off. Originally that was, and everyone was on board.
It's a reward.
That's a reward. That's what we deserve.
Let those ankles rest.
That's why we should win the division. We should go all out for it so we can get that rest. That's what the NFL does, and their teams are fine. So I don't want to hear it. Just get gamed up. Get gamed up. You're an adult. Get gamed up. Figure it out.
Right. And I think the solution that I'm bringing to the table is I just want there to not be some sort of crazy extensive solution that is not necessary. Right. The idea that dude, you played 162 games.
Right.
It should be a massive advantage for you to come back and be ready to go.
Yep.
Totally. It should be a massive advantage, period. Yep. Period. But let's start landing the plane. We got to make our picks. We didn't get to pick out the NLDS because obviously we're crazy busy. I did watch all the games. I'm not going to lie. I watched a ton of baseball as much as I could. Obviously I was coaching, but I was checking ESPN, watching highlights. Usually I went to bed watching highlights and stuff. But I'm pretty studied. Before the Rangers won today, I'm be honest with you, I was taking them because I'm never picking the Astros. There's never a world in which I'm going to pick the Astros.
Easy.
Done. Our boy Corey Seager, your boy especially, Corey Seager, because you have a shirt of him.
I love Corey. I love him.
He's balling. He's bashing in the playoffs.
Like hitting 400.
His OPS is still like over 1,000.
Yep.
It's like
he's been
what?
walked 11 times. Like he's so good, dude. He's so good. I take back every comment I've ever made that the Dodgers should not have paid him that much. They should have paid him that much because they need someone like him, obviously, in their lineup in the playoffs.
When you're going to do it in the playoffs, if you're going to do it in the playoffs, if you're going to do that you're worth $300 million. Hands 100%. Down, I was wrong.
1,000%.
Eating my words right now. Eating crow. Because the argument we gave was like, look, dude, he's not that good on defense. Like his defense is okay, but you can't give $300 million to somebody who's okay on the base pads, okay on defense, and is just really good at the plate. That's one of three. Right. But when you're that good and in the playoffs, yeah, dude, give the man his money. We paid Mookie Betts that, and Mookie Betts has been struggling through last season. I still love me some Mookie Betts. Like I'm not trying to hate. I love Mookie Betts. Having said that, that's 2 playoffs in a row. Yep. He's been atrocious. Mookie, if you're listening, you got to figure it out, bud. You're our dude. Like it or not, Dodger fans, he's the guy.
And get emotional, bro. Like,
and
don't just be like,
no one's taking that contract done.
I messed up, yeah.
No one's taking that contract done. Ain't nobody taking that contract done.
Of course not. Not even the Pirates.
Maybe with an MVP season. Well, I mean, if there's a team out there who just wants to be good during the regular season, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The Dodgers.
It sounds like, and the worst part is it sounds like we're hating. It sounds like we're hating, but it's like, dude, we're just upset.
But it's okay it's okay. They deserve the hate right now. We still love them.
Well, I like Freddie Freeman's. Like he had a reason at least. Like, why'd you struggle? He's like, I saw the ball well. I hit it. I came over like I did the last 5 weeks of the season, holding back tears. Like he looked like he cared.
Right.
He looked emotional.
But this is,
if I hear Mookie Betts say a comment about the other team's cars one more time, last year is those guys are driving Mercedes too, and this year is those guys are driving really expensive cars too. If I hear that comment one more time, that's not a reason, Mookie.
Yeah.
There's not a reason. Stop it. Stop saying that.
Yeah, bro. To be honest, dude, like he just doesn't care. I really don't think he does. I don't.
It's exactly what we talked about. He's still making his money.
Right.
He's done, and now he's going to make it. As a Dodger fan, that's what I see.
Yep.
That's what I see.
That is 100%.
You're just content making it. They have really nice cars too. No, dude. No.
And anyone who, if anyone gets on us for like, well, you guys aren't real Dodger fans, shut up. Like, you've hated on your team before. It's called a love-hate relationship. Okay, you ever been married? You ever been in a relationship with someone? You guys argue. Everyone argues. Everyone gets in fights. At the end of the day, we still love them. We get in bed with them. At the end of the day,
I'm wearing a Dodger shirt. I can't wait for next season. Next season's gonna be dope.
With them, like we still love them. But
Walker Buehler's coming back. Dustin May's coming back.
Walker Buehler, let's go. So it's okay. We still love them.
Hopefully Trinan.
Oh my God,
Trinan. My man. All right, moving on. NL side, Phillies, Diamondbacks. Naturally, dude. You go ahead.
I'm going Diamondbacks, bro.
Wow, he's doing it. Corbin Carroll. He's doing it,
bro. That guy's so good.
He's really good.
He's
good. Really good.
He's hitting like 400.
And their pitching staff. Their pitching staff is doing great.
Dude, M. Kelly, man. M. Kelly lighting us up, dude. Kelly. Zach Gallen, and then freaking dude who has 5 ERA in the season and just shut us down in game 3. Good for him.
Good for that guy.
Man.
Made him look Cy Young. Good job, Dodgers. Made that guy look Cy Young. I'm taking the Phillies. I just think they're way too hot, and I don't see them flaming out. I know the Braves is like a big win. So like that is the one concern if you're a Phillies fan, is that it's like a bit like the Diamondbacks last year when the Diamondbacks beat the Dodgers. Like it was so easy for them to get gassed up, the Padres. It was so easy for the Padres to get gassed up to beat the Dodgers because like they're big rival.
Right.
Like this big brother. And like it was so easy. Phillies, Braves, rivalry. Phillies were mimicking the chop. So, I mean, it is going to be a little bit because they're not the underdog here. Right. No. So they've got to find a way. They've got to find the way to get gassed up.
Those fans, though, are crazy. Like in a good way.
They're good fans.
They're such
willing
Trey
Turner.
Like two guys were on the freaking roof of the stadium. Like when Harper, did you see that?
What?
Did you see
No.
that, bro? In game 3?
No.
When Harper hit like his
No.
first home run. There's 2 guys like in right field on the roof of the stadium, just chilling, watching the game, standing up. Like, what the
Oh my
hell?
gosh.
What is going on there in
How did
Philly?
they get up there?
How did they get out there?
These are on the world's tallest ladder. They didn't even jump the fence. Like, no, we're going straight to the
It's
top.
crazy, bro.
Go to the tippy
Like,
top.
What is going on over here in Philadelphia?
We're packing lunches.
It's so cool though. Like the energy that they bring. I went to game 2 in LA last week, and there's just with the Dodgers, there's a nervous energy, especially since they lost game 1. It's like, man, here we go again. And yes, there was times where it felt like a playoff atmosphere, but which was like only a few moments. But the rest of the time, it was just, dang it, dude. Like you could tell people were nervous, they were mad. It's like, this is it. They're going to choke again. That's just the mentality that Dodger fans have because they do it so much. Philly fans, no, like they will never go that low. Like they'll will their team to win no matter what, even if they're losing, which I love about them.
Before, say it again.
Say it.
Give me Chase Utley.
Give me
Dodger fan growing up. It would be more than just a team to him.
Yes.
He will do it.
Yes.
He will get us there. I believe it.
I would do it.
Let's land this plane. This has been fun. Big Z. I had a good time. I couldn't tell you what we talked about at all because we didn't keep it brevity. We talked to some NFL. We talked a little bit of college football. We talked about our sad and depressing fantasy football teams. We landed with some baseball, made our picks. Big Z, say bye to the people.
People, I love you guys. Let us know, dude. Like Bryce Harper, if he looks like Mr. Tumnus, send us some chats. Send us some DMs that yes, he does. No, he doesn't. Your wife's just being too nice to you. Yeah. Send us a chat. Let me know. I want to know. I want to know the truth. Okay. Tell me.
I want to know the truth.
Have a good week. Thank you. Love you guys.
I demand the truth. You're not ready for the truth. You
I
can't handle the truth. We love you. Thanks for listening. Check out our socials. We're gonna at some point we're gonna have time to post. It's gonna happen. So
we posted last week.
At some point we did. Like once.
Yeah, we did. We got it.
One time. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get better at it. Don't worry about us coming for you. We love you. Have a great night. Enjoy some football tomorrow. Great game tomorrow. Chargers, Cowboys. By the time this comes out, you'll have already found out what happens. So it's gonna be a good game. I'm calling it right now. It's going to be a good game. Keenan Allen's going to get me 30. Keenan Allen's going to be 35.
That's right. And 17 points from the Cowboys kicker, Aubrey. Let's go. Let's go.
Have a great night, everybody. Thanks for listening. Tell your friends, tell your family. We're Brevity Sports. Take it easy.